we have to talk a little bit about this. Now, about 3 days ago, chat. Well, a little bit before that. How about we start with a little geography lesson, okay? How about we start with a little geography lesson, all right? Oh, that's a terrible map. I just want a good map. Okay, this'll do. Okay. Hi. We need to talk about Moldova. Okay? Now, for those of you who are not up on your geography, Moldova is a relatively small European country that sits between Romania and Ukraine. You might be like, Ukraine, I know that place. Well, good. Here's just a little image of where we're talking about here. So you got Russia over here, got Ukraine, then you got Moldova. All right? Now, Moldova is in a bit of an interesting position politically. Because it used to be a former Soviet territory, but in recent years it has been moving to kind of align itself with the EU with a potential bid for EU membership. And this is a problem if you are, say, a gigantic regional power named Russia, led by an authoritarian dictator who wants to rebuild the Soviet states. He wants to rebuild the USSR. So Moldova, aligning itself with the EU, presents a bit of a pickle. Now, this pickle has been, to some extent, on lockdown for a while now. Specifically because there is a location within Moldova that is along the border with Ukraine. Basically, just a long, snaking string of territory called Transnistria. Okay? Let's see if we can... Yeah. So, here's Transnistria in the red here. And it is basically a long string between Moldova and Ukraine. Now, why do we need to talk about this? Well, essentially because for a number of years now, Russia has had about 1,500 troops stationed within the borders of this place called Transnistria. Which, by the way, Transnistria is not formally recognized by, I believe, any European country. And it is, frankly, a way for Moldova to be illegally occupied by Russia. Now, something to note about Moldova is that... Here, let's take a look at this tweet by this beautiful and very well-educated person on Twitter, at Riverboat Jack. The region of Moldova, the troops Russia has stationed there, which again, 1,500, it claims to be an independent nation called Transnistria that has a military consisting of about 4,500 to 5,500 soldiers, with another 15,000 to 20,000 in reserve. And Moldova has an army of about 6,500 strong. So with the reinforcements of Russia, effectively Transnistria and Moldova are on an equal playing field in terms of how many troops exist in the region. Is that Dylan Burns? It is indeed. So what is happening here that we need to now talk about this? Because this has kind of been the status quo for a while. Well, it turns out that Moldova aligning itself with the EU is something that Russia really, really, really doesn't want. So, as of just a couple days ago, Russia issued a statement saying that essentially Moldova's repositioning to join the EU will not go unanswered, effectively threatening to exert military force against the state of Moldova for daring to align with the EU. Here we have Samuel Romani, PhD, International Relations from Oxford. Moldovan Foreign Minister Nicu Popescu says that Moldova has complied with 4 EU sanction packages and also vowed to expand sanctions compliance in March of 2023. Russia is framing these actions as contradictory to the will of the Moldovan people who want ties with Russia, aka Transnistria. Russia's responses, anti-government rallies, empowerment of figures like Igor Dodon, and other hybrid threats likely rise to the fore. Transnistria is unlikely to heat up in a major way despite Tiraspol explosions early in the war when Russia thought it could landlock Ukraine. So, basically, what we're seeing Russia doing in Moldova is exactly what they did in the Donbass. Basically, they have a reinforced separatist region of Moldova to, kind of stoke intentionally separatist fervor, hold these rallies, fund the opposition parties, possibly arm separatist groups. They have troops already stationed there. And, yeah, it is essentially the destabilization play that they did in Crimea, that they did in Donbass, and that they've attempted to do in other countries like Georgia, right? They are just expanding that and basically investing for, like, down the line, once this Ukraine situation is kind of blown over and they have either won or not won, they can then swing in a few of their troops from elsewhere and annex or recognize Transnistria as a pretext to seize all of Moldova in self-defense. This is like exactly their playbook for Ukraine, and it's playing out again on a smaller scale in Moldova. And in fact, and now, again, this is me kind of just speculating a little bit, so take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but the fact that 1,500 troops from Russia can basically tip the scales of power in Moldova, it might be a place where they can redirect international troops, or even perhaps redirect the remnants of their mercenary groups towards that region to destabilize and overthrow the Moldovan government, which would then allow them to perhaps open a secondary front against Ukraine. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm going to guess that is not likely going to be their play. I'm just saying that is a distinct possibility, given that it would only take a small fraction of Russia's forces to actually topple Moldova, given the strength of Moldova's forces. So, yeah, just a situation to be aware of that, in a country we don't typically think about all that much here in the United States.